With the 17th century sonnet, we move away from the Petrarchan content that previously determined the choice of writing sonnets. In a strange way, unlike, say, the ballade, which had no preconceived content identified with the form or genre, remember, all it had was 3 stanzas of any length, with the refrain or chorus as the final line of each stanza, and an envoy if so desired. All that mattered with the ballade was that the poem made an argument that angled back onto one repeated line over and over again, which was the refrain. Think of Chaucer's Fortune or the works of Charles of Orleans. Now with the sonnet, it also had an argumentative structure. That would be the perfect vehicle for taking on all kinds of subject matter, but somehow the pull of the Petrarchan lover turned the sonnet into arguments about love. Now in Sydney, you did see some political poems in Astrophil and Stella. Dittos with Spenser's Amoretti, with sonnets about merchants leaving for the Indies. But those were still about love. With John Donne's Holy Sonnets, which were written between 1633 and 35, we see Petrarch's influence not on the love elements, but the need for a spiritual turn. Remember, in the Petrarchan love sonnet, as a sequence, love becomes spiritualized once Laura dies. Once Petrarch loses Laura, his lady, he needs to focus on higher things. Donne's sonnets are decidedly religious. In other words, the Petrarchan sonnet turns to religion itself. But you can also see European exploration as well. For example, innovations in astronomy show up in sonnet number 5.
I am a little world made cunningly of elements, and an angelic sprite. But black sin hath betrayed to endless night my world's both parts, and oh, both parts must die. You which beyond that heaven which was most high have found new spheres, and of new lands can write. Pour new seas in mine eyes, that so I might drown my world with my weeping earnestly. Or wash if it must be drowned no more. But oh, it must be burnt. Alas, the fire of lust and envy have burnt it heretofore, and made it fouler. Let their flames retire, and burn me, O Lord, with the fiery zeal of thee and thy house, which doth an eating heal.
Let's look at the rhyme scheme, taking into consideration early modern pronunciation. Cunningly, A, sprite, B, night, B, die, A, which is going to rhyme with cunningly, D, high, A, right, B, might, B, earnestly, A. That is the Petrarchan octave, is it not? Now let's see if there's a sestet. More, fire, therefore. That looks like the classic 2-rhyme tercet in the sestet of Petrarch. Retire, D. So 2 more, and do we have it? And then we have zeal and heal. So what we really have again is a Petrarchan octave, 1 quatrain, and 2 rhymed couplets. First, he will describe himself as a little cold planet made out of a body and soul, but darkened by sin. I'm a little world made cunningly. That means skillfully made in an artful manner by God, the Creator. I'm a little world made cunningly of elements and an angelic sprite. So he's made of material elements, and he's made up of spiritual elements. But black sin hath betrayed to endless night my world's both parts. So God made the material elements and the spiritual elements perfectly, but sin has blackened them. And oh, both parts must die. Then he will look to the stars, He addresses the astronomers who are peering into space with new telescopes and mathematical theories, looking and finding new worlds, and describing them or writing about them in their journals and papers. Those discoveries make his world even smaller and more insignificant and more sinful. The magnitude of sin increases as his small little vantage point decreases. You, which beyond that heaven which was most high, have found new spheres and of new lands can write. Pour new seas in mine eyes, that so I might drown my world with my weeping earnestly, or wash it if it must be drowned no more. You can see already that the octave progresses into what would be in Petrarch the sestet, but it continues. The argument is continuing. His world is flooded with tears. Think of Noah. But it should be burnt. But the word burned will take on several meanings. This is the first figure of traductio through Polyptychon in the work. Burn this little planet like hellfire to crisp because it burns with sin. But oh, it must be burnt. That but oh, that signals the volta, right? The volta has been pushed down a line to line 10, starting what reads like a tercet. But oh, it must be burnt. Alas, the fire of lust and envy have burnt it heretofore, and made it fouler. Let their flames retire. Now for the couplet, which is part of the English sonnet, he says, burn me with zeal. So his little planet can be purged of sin. And this is purgatory's fire. Remember, Donne is Catholic. So we saw a modified Italian volta, and now we get the English one. And burn me, O Lord, with a fiery zeal of thee in thy house, which doth in eating heal. And notice the and from the Italian tercet, if we want to call it, and the and at the beginning of the rhymed couplet, that makes anaphor, and. Purgatory's fire is the same fire that burns Hamlet's father, do you remember? The sonnet is about his own salvation and grappling with sin. Looking at the rest of the holy sonnets, in sonnet number 1, you see the same reaction to time like you did in Shakespeare. But instead of death being at the end of the line or on the horizon, there's sin and its consequences. I run to death, and death meets me as fast, and all my pleasures are like yesterday. I dare not move my dim eyes any way. Despair behind and death before doth cast such terror in my feeble flesh doth waste. Only God, not love or the lady, remember the pronouns are yous and thous, can save him. That's what he addresses in this war caused by time. Thou hast made me, and shall thy work decay? Repair me now, for now mine end doth haste. Help me! But is God distant like the lady? Will he respond? That's the question in this sonnet. In sonnet 14, you get another military poem, like the kind you found in Spenser. But here, God is a 3-personed army. He's the Trinity, right? Laying siege to him, trying to break down the walls of his castle, which are his heart.
Batter my heart, 3-person God, for you as yet but knock, breathe, shine, and seek to mend. That I might rise and stand, o'erthrow me, and bend your force to break, blow, burn, and make me new. I, like a usurped town, to another do, labor to admit you, but oh, to no end. Reason, your viceroy and me should defend, but as captive and proves weak or untrue. Yet dearly I love you, and would be loved fain, but I am betrothed to your enemy. Divorce me, untie or break that knot again. Take me to you, imprison me, for I, except you enthrall me, never shall be free, nor ever chaste, except you ravish me.
It's contradictory because he's resisting this army, but he wants it to fall. Notice how it opens with an invitation, or maybe you could view it as a plea. Batter my heart, three-personed God. He's talking about the Trinity. It's a great opening line. Let's scan it. It reads like trochaic inversion. Batter my heart. And there is the caesura. And then, of course, because three in person are both strong, one of them has to be demoted. Remember, because stress is relative. Three-personed God. And there's your demotion for you. And we see another one of those demotions as well. As yet, promotion obviously, but knock. There's our caesura, as yet, but knock, breathe, shine, right? That's the foot right here, just like this was the foot right there. Breathe, shine, and seek to mend, that I may rise and stand. Now this is completely normal now, but the caesura is after the sixth syllable. Batter my heart. It's in the imperative. Break me, overthrow me. It's like Charles of Orleans begging his lady to imprison him, which means to take him, keep him within her keep. Why does he want to be battered? Why he wants the siege to succeed against him? So that he can be new. Batter my heart, three-person God, again the Trinity, for you as yet but knock, breathe, shine, and seek to mend, that I may rise and stand, overthrow me and bend, your force to break, blow, burn, and make me new. There you can hear also the alliteration. That's a contradiction, but Donne uses the contradictions of the Petrarchan lover well as the resistant believer. And then, like all love poetry, the war ends with imprisonment. And we know this topos from Charles of Orleans, it's the prisoner or the prison of love. But again, it's in the imperative. It's all built out of a paradox in the way he uses enjambments. What are enjambments? Enjambments are those suspended, incomplete thoughts that roll into the next line. I love how reason, he's failed, and he has married or betrothed his enemy. And notice he asks him for a divorce. This is not Catholic. This is an allusion to the beginnings of the Protestant Reformation with Henry VIII. And then we get the final three lines. Take me to you, imprison me, for I, except you enthrall me, never shall be free, nor ever chaste, except you ravish me. Never will I be free nor chaste. And that's a sexual statement. Except, then he says, you enthrall me, ravish me. It's shocking. It's an image of God's army pillaging a city. It's rape and pillage turned into a religious, mystical image. It's God ravishing you. This very intimate experience of God, which is so Catholic, is very different from the militant Puritan sonnets you could read if you read the sonnets of Milton, whose God is distant or absent or withdrawn from human affairs. In our next episode, we're going to look at Donne's other poetry.
Alright guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that notification bell.